Coming up, he's a White House champion of change, helping Cherokee Nation citizens turn their lives around.
I'm never proud of anything that I did. I'm proud of where I am today.
How this family man is making a difference and how it all started with his own mistakes. And 2015's Miss Teen Oklahoma, how Cherokee Pierce used a bad experience at school to fuel her dreams.
I always had this secret kind of dream of wanting to do a pageant.
And the historic inspiration behind Ron Mitchell's paintings.
Concept of taking documents like money and putting a new twist to it. It's sort of a satirical look on history, but using documents.
How he overcame what could have been a major obstacle to his artwork.
The Cherokees.
A thriving American Indian tribe.
Our history.
Our culture. Our people.
Our future.
The principles of a historic nation.
Sewn into the fabric of a modern world.
Hundreds of thousands strong. Learning, growing,
Succeeding.
And steadfast.
In the past, we have persevered through struggle.
but the future is ours to write.
Osiyo.
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 These are the voices of the Cherokee people.
Osiyo, I'm Principal Chief Bill John Baker. Welcome to the Cherokee Nation and OsiyoTV. This is how we share our culture, our heritage, our history, and our language with you. Wado.
Osiyo, it's how we say hello in Cherokee. Today we'll introduce you to an artist who uses historical documents as inspiration for his work. Plus we'll meet Cherokee Nation citizen and Miss Teen Oklahoma 2015, who's written a children's book to help kids overcome bullying. But first, let's hear from Darryl Legg, a White House champion for change who's helping people in the Cherokee Nation find a turning point.
Whenever you're called something like felon, immediately, once you have to self-disclose that you're a felon, the feeling of being a little bit subhuman comes over you. Sometimes you feel like you're walking around with a big F on your forehead. I'm Darryl Legg, and I'm the Director of the Economic Development and Reentry for Cherokee Nation Career Services. You know, I graduated high school here in Salisaw at Central High School with straight A's, class president, and I just started partying. And next thing you know, you was doing methamphetamines just so you could drink longer and stay up longer and drink more beer. And it just got out of control. And I ended up going to prison in '94 for possession of methamphetamine. I was standing in line at the bookstore when a lady approached me from Cherokee Nation Voc Rehab. She happened to know me. We worked together in years past, and she said, "Darryl, didn't you just get out?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Are you considered a chemical dependent?" And I said, "Yeah, I guess so." And she said, "Well, we can help you get your schooling paid for through Voc Rehab." The Reentry is a program that was developed to help incarcerated Cherokees for when they get out of prison. In career services, one of the barriers that we have that qualifies you for our program is being an ex-offender. So it just kind of fit to be with our program because we're all about getting jobs, getting people employed, and self-sufficiency. So you got to separate your mentality from where you were incarcerated to where you are today. If you make people like you, they want to be around you. I don't really hardly ever go into telling war stories because it's nothing I'm proud of. And people want to brag and say how proud they are of me because of what I'm doing now. I'm really doing what I should have been doing all along.
Well, I was raised up in Chewy, Oklahoma. All in all, it was a pretty good childhood. I'd kind of got into the wrong crowd, you know. Got to work. It was more important to, you know, drink and get high. It wasn't very long to where the anger and the drugs and alcohol was more controlling than anything in my life, you know. And I was just to a point where I wished that I could just actually just die somehow, you know. You know, I've thought about that every day. still think about it. Takes something drastic when you're that far out there, you know, for you to really realize that something's wrong, you know. I was asking myself one day, and I prayed about it and asked God, I said, you know, I know there's a better me inside there. It's almost like we was talking right now. He said, you see where your decisions have brought you. He said, why don't you turn your life around and let me run it and let me show you where I'll take it. And if I remember right, it's like 19 years, 5 months and 7 days. And I just got out July 2nd this year.
Del Six Killer is one of our best success stories since I've been here. He would easily be told no in every situation if it wasn't for his tribe helping him. He came through these front doors, is how it happened. And he just walked in, really didn't have any kind of direction on what to do, how to go about getting help, how to go about getting a job. He come out motivated. There wasn't much coaching that was needed with him. We got him some clothes, got him hooked up, got him stabled at a motel, got him some food, and everything else Del has done on his own.
It's not so much as being hard as it's me kind of trying to catch up. One of the biggest things was I prayed about helping people out. God just opened up the doors to where now I'm in drug court. My job title is a supervision officer, and it's a really important job, and there's a lot of things that I'm having to catch on to. It's kind of like put me in a position to where I used to be. Now I'm having to be the guy that has to get on some of these guys. I'm really not used to that yet, but it'll come around, you know. So I'm trying my best to do the things that God's called me to do.
I'm never proud of anything that I did. I'm proud of where I am today. I enjoyed the fact that I'm able to go over there and talk to the chief of police anytime I want to. You know, I consider him a friend, or he's a colleague. Me work for the city or being an elected official and him work for the city. I try to really shut out a lot of the memories that I've had from a long time ago, because none of it was pleasant, and it's nothing that, you know, to brag about or boast of, that's for sure. In 2014, President Obama sent out nominations for people that are for their reentries, for their efforts on reentry to employment. It was overwhelming because I got to bring my family with me. You know, they had never been to Washington, D.C., and to really just be recognized for the efforts on this front, because it's so passionate to me. You know, it's not like I wake up and go to work every day, probably like you. It's like you love what you do, and who am I going to get to help next? Living a normal life, I guess, is a sigh of relief. You know, I love being a dad and a family man and a husband, and to be blessed like I am now, you know, I can't complain about anything. I just think that it's because I'm setting an example. That's my biggest success. It's not staying out of jail, and it's not all this other stuff. It's being a good dad.
Just the fact that people are excited to actually meet him because they know that he's helped people in the past, and he just continues to help people. He's an absolute superstar to all of us.
That's what I'm most proud of. It's what I want to be remembered for.
Ron Mitchell has been a fixture at Native American art shows for decades. Over the years, his painting style has evolved to incorporate history, telling a story that resonates with Cherokees and art collectors alike.
When I first started painting the colors, I actually did much like a paint by number. I actually would have gone in and labeled what color I was going to paint it and everything. The style that I've developed over the years is based on the traditional flat style. It's a very controlled way of controlling colors. You're dealing with black colors next to black colors. I figured 7 colors was about as all I could remember to deal with. My name's Ron Mitchell. I'm a member of the Cherokee Nation. I've been painting for 45 years. My dad was in the Army. He was in the Aleutian Islands during World War II. He was stationed up there. And he came back, was stationed in Fort Benning, Georgia, and that's where I was born, 1943. We moved to Lawton, Oklahoma when I was about 2 or 3 years old. And in the 4th grade is when I won my first art competition. That was the first time I really started showing art. I got in trouble a lot at school because I really wasn't a good student. I was spending more time drawing than I was actually paying attention to my classes. Velma Bailey was her name. She gave us, I learned more from her than everything. She was the first one to actually notice that I was red-green colorblind. She said, "Why do you keep using the same colors over and over and over on all your paintings?" And I went, "I don't know." She said, "Are you colorblind?" I went, "I don't know." And at that point, it was the first time that I had any hint that I was colorblind. Of course, being partially colorblind, you do have an advantage with the fact that you perceive values a lot easier than people who see all the colors, because color sometimes can get in the way of values. I wanted to be a tech illustrator in the Air Force. They told me since I was red-green colorblind, they said, "What do you want to be, a cook or an air policeman?" Well, I joined the Air Force so I wouldn't be in the infantry, because that's what I was raised in. My dad was in the infantry for 20 years. I didn't want any more of it. And I said, "Give me a rifle." So there again, they said I couldn't be an artist because I was colorblind. And of course, in order to do that, I have to keep all of my colors labeled. And I keep them in a very strict order. I keep them in the order that I usually use them in. The current pieces I'm working on now is kind of a contemporary ledger style. Started doing some research, started learning about our history, our culture. It's amazing the amount of history that I've learned about our people and the trials and tribulations that our people have gone through. And I've tried to emulate that in my artwork, and using the flat style and combined with airbrush gives me a great tool for telling the stories. And I did a painting of the Trail of Tears across the bottom of the $20 bill. The Indian Museum in Wichita, Kansas bought it for their permanent collection now. And this is what kind of started this whole concept of taking documents like money and putting a new twist to it. It's sort of a satirical look on history, but using documents. They just like it just says, black colors. You just lay it down in black areas, and then when I get ready to finish the piece, I'll come back in with a darker color and outline it, just like much like a cartoon character or a coloring book. And that's what really will sit there and make this look finished. After my wife passed away, I wanted to move back over to my area where the family was from. I think I wanted more privacy or something, my own studio again. It'd been several years since my wife passed away, and I was ready to figure it out. I was still living. I still had things to do, My life wasn't over yet. So now I did build a nice porch facing the west, and this summer I would go out there and sit in the evening and sit out there in the rocking chair. It's nice, sit there and watch the sunsets and stuff, but I miss the traveling. That and the creative process. I have to paint, I have to draw. It's been too much of my life, all my life, and I'm not gonna quit.
In 1831, the Cherokee Nation was fighting to retain their homelands in the state of Georgia. Georgia had passed several acts to add Cherokee land to the state, even though the boundaries of the Cherokee Nation had been clearly defined and guaranteed by treaty. If these acts were carried out, not only would Georgia gain a significant area to open to settlement, but Cherokee citizens there would be subject to the state's laws instead of their own. Represented by former U.S. Attorney General William Wirt and under the leadership of Principal Chief John Ross, the Cherokee Nation argued their case before the Supreme Court in the historic Cherokee Nation versus Georgia. While the Supreme Court found that the Cherokees did indeed still have an unquestionable right to the lands they occupy, on March 5, 1831, it decided that the Cherokee Nation did not qualify as either a state or a foreign state, and therefore could not bring suit against the state of Georgia. Instead, Chief Justice John Marshall likened the Cherokees' relationship to the United States as one of a ward to his guardian, and coined the phrase domestic dependent nation, a term that is still used today.
Jalagi iniwone. Let's talk Cherokee. March. Hanayi.
Hanayi.
March is a windy month. Hanayi katla. Ganola ski. Hanayi.
Hanayi.
Katla.
Katla.
Ganola ski.
Ganolaski.
Bird. G-squaw.
G-squaw.
The bird is singing. G-squaw. De kanogi a. G-squaw.
G-squaw.
De kanogi a.
De kanogi a.
Flood. Ganohugi a.
Ganohugi a.
The creek is flooding. Ama uweya. Ganohugi a. Ama.
Ama.
Uweya.
Uweya.
Ganohugi a.
Ganohugi a.
To some, the beauty of a beauty queen may seem skin deep, but Miss Teen Oklahoma 2015 Cherokee Pierce says she uses her crown to send a message to young girls. Being different is good, and she's proof dreams do come true.
The new Miss Oklahoma Teen USA is Cherokee Pierce. Congratulations, ladies.
My name is Cherokee Pierce, and I'm Miss Oklahoma Teen USA 2015. I was 14 when I first started pageants. I think my initial thought was I wanted to be in a pretty dress and I wanted to go out there. I wanted to meet new people and meet friends that had some goals that I did. I wanted to go to college and I want to have a great career and do something different. So I entered my first pageant and it was a great experience. I found a goal that I wanted to be Miss Oklahoma Teen USA, and I competed for 5 years for that title. I met new friends, and friends I actually still talk to this day, and the 5th time was a charm, and I was crowned Miss Oklahoma Teen USA. The night I won, oh my gosh, I bawled my eyes out. I could not stop crying. It was something, of course, I've always dreamed of doing. I grew up on a very small farm in Chelsea, Oklahoma. I grew up raising cattle and goats, and it was just a great time of my life where I got to learn a lot of responsibility and how to take care of something other than myself. My grandparents live on 200 acres in Claremore.
Cherokee comes from a long line of very strong Cherokee women. This property was part of the Indian allotment in the 1890s.
I remember shucking corn and picking green beans.
Yeah.
And I remember Grandma being so fast at picking green beans. I'd be at the very beginning of the road and she'd be all the way down. I always had this secret kind of dream of wanting to do a pageant.
I always knew that whatever Cherokee wanted to do, she could accomplish. She had actually come to me when she was small and she said she wanted to be a model. And I didn't know anything about the industry and was really kind of nervous. I thought these young girls were just being judged on, the way they looked. And I didn't want that for Cherokee because we've always taught Cherokee that beauty comes from within. After doing a lot of research, I found that these girls were actually volunteering and doing a lot in their community. They were actually public servants, and they were spokespeople for, kids that felt like they didn't have a voice.
I guess I was just different. Of course, living on a farm, I always just felt like an outcast. I would get teased a lot, bullied, and even in the 2nd grade was choked until I almost passed out. So that's what provoked me to write my book, Meanie Muffins, and to publish it. I've been traveling to daycares and schools and reading it to them because it's okay to be unique, it's okay to be different. And also, if you are being bullied or hurt or harassed, then tell a teacher, tell someone older than you.
Cherokee has a servant's heart, and I wanted her to tap into that if she ever was given the honor of being crowned. And when she finally won, she made it a point to do things for other people, which I am super proud about. She did an enormous amount of community service work. She talked to kids and always would pick out the little kid that was in the corner. And so she really, I feel like she gives back to those that were just like her when she was little, that didn't have the confidence that they needed.
Being a role model is it's a great experience. And when you walk into a classroom and you have your crown and your sash, and I get a lot of, oh my gosh, it's a princess. And that makes me so happy. And I just tell them right back that, no, you're a princess. And I let them wear my crown and my sash. And they went to the Little Lighthouse in Tulsa, which is a school for special needs children. And that was an incredible experience. And those kids got to wear my crown and my sash and feel like a queen. I've spoken to a lot of the Native students. I went to Bell Elementary, which is a very small elementary school by Stillwell, and I've gotten to speak to them about my journey and never giving up, and whatever dream you have, you can attain it if you work hard. Miss Teen USA was a blast. We spent 5 days in the Bahamas. I placed in the top 15. I have friends from every state now, these girls that are absolutely incredible, and they really do inspire me. So after the preliminary competition at Miss Teen USA, we had a Sherry Hill fashion show, and Sherry Hill herself actually picked 6 girls who would be able to model for her next Atlanta market in August. So I was one of those that was chosen out of 51 girls, which was absolutely such an incredible honor. Yeah, along with going to school, I've been modeling to pay for my school. I think it's super important to me to work hard to get my education, so modeling has given me the opportunity to do that. Eventually I do plan to compete as of this time for Miss Oklahoma USA, but in the meantime I want to focus on school 100%. I'm going to transfer to the University of Central Oklahoma in the fall, so I'm really looking forward to that. In the future I want to be a motivational speaker, and that's something I actually discovered through being Miss Oklahoma Teen USA. Through my experiences speaking to students and kids across the state, I've realized I think this is what I want to do. I want to speak to people and I want to motivate them and how they can reach their goals and move forward.
We hope you enjoyed our show. And remember, you can always watch entire episodes and share your favorite stories online at Osio.tv. There is no Cherokee word for goodbye. We say, Donadago ha'i. We'll see each other again. So until next time, wado. It's your turn to visit the Cherokee Nation and explore 66,000 acres of lush Oklahoma countryside, scenic rivers and lakes, and engaging cultural attractions, like the John Ross Museum and Cemetery in Park Hill. The museum is set in a former rural schoolhouse built in 1913 and highlights the life and legacy of the influential Cherokee chief John Ross. Ross was principal chief of the Cherokee Nation for nearly 40 years during one of the most tumultuous and impactful times in its history. Born in 1790, Ross was a native of the old Cherokee Nation in what is now Georgia. He rose to prominence at a young age, and by 1827, Ross had served his nation as a delegate to Washington, D.C., as a veteran of the Battle of Horseshoe Bend, and as president of the Cherokee National Committee. In 1828, John Ross was elected principal chief of the Cherokee Nation for the first of many terms. Ross fought tirelessly against President Andrew Jackson's Indian removal policy, determined to protect the Cherokee homelands. Ultimately, Ross was unsuccessful in preventing the devastation that was the Trail of Tears. So he led the Cherokees to the new Indian Territory, where they would rebuild their government with Chief Ross at the helm. Ross and his family settled in Park Hill, Indian Territory, near present-day Tahlequah, Oklahoma. After a lifetime of working to preserve the sovereignty of the Cherokee Nation, Chief John Ross died in Washington, D.C. in 1866, campaigning for his people and his nation until the very end. He is buried in the Ross Cemetery in Park Hill, situated just behind the John Ross Museum. The cemetery is on the National Register of Historic Places and is the burial grounds for many in the Ross family, important Cherokee delegates, and survivors of the Trail of Tears. In addition to highlighting the life and legacy of Chief John Ross, the museum houses exhibits and interactive displays on the Trail of Tears, Civil War, Cherokee Golden Age, and Cherokee Nation's passion for the education of its people. The museum also has a gift shop and research area. To plan your visit to the museum, go to visitcherokeenation.com.
In the Cherokee Nation, news happens every day.
Cherokee Nation's economic impact on the state of Oklahoma now exceeds $2 billion.
The dollars that are generated here are creating jobs.
It benefits everyone.
Creating headlines.
The new 469,000 square foot health facility is the result of the largest joint venture agreement ever.
For the people of the Cherokee Nation, and it'll impact them for generations to come.
Creating opportunities.
Cherokee Nation employees can now take 8 weeks of paid maternity leave.
We have lots of young mothers and young families, and this is something that's very exciting.
This year, the tribe awarded $5 million to superintendents from about 100 public school districts.
When it comes to education, we're all in it together.
Creating a better place to call home.
The Wilma P. Mankiller Health Center in Stillwell, Oklahoma, nearly doubled in size.
That this absolutely will make a tremendous impact on the quality of life. It's going to provide more jobs.
For more Cherokee Nation news, visit onadiskoe.com.